Today, August 5th, marks 2 years since India's Jammu and Kashmir began marching to a new tune. On 5th of August in 2019, Article 370 was nullified in the erstwhile state and full constitutional integration was completed with the rest of India. Today is also the anniversary of the bifurcation of the state of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir has since led to full extension of jurisdiction of central government, the parliament and the Indian constitution over the region. But the demand for restoring statehood is growing in both union territories. In June this year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had met 14 political leaders from J&K, including 4 former chief ministers. The meet aimed to chalk out the future course of action in the union territory. The leaders from the Union Territory were assured by the Prime Minister that the state will have its statehood restored soon. Amid political and bureaucratic changes in the region, after the erstwhile state's special status was revoked, many locals have admitted that the state in fact has shown rapid progress. Work opportunities have increased for the youth, especially in regions which were besieged by violence. In the last 2 years, the government of Jammu and Kashmir has issued over 4 million domicile certificates in the Union territories. Even as domestic violence has reduced, the terror threat from Pakistan still remains a big challenge. As the UT approached 2 years of revocation of Article 370, it witnessed a rise in Pakistan-backed terror attacks, particularly in the Kashmir Valley. In several encounters with security forces, many top Pakistani terrorists have been killed during the past few days. According to Vijay Kumar, who is the IGP of Kashmir, security forces had killed close to 100 terrorists during the 7 months of this year. Pakistani terror outfits have been deploying drones for attacks and smuggling arms and ammunition. In June, Jammu Air Base was attacked using drones. And for more on this story, WION correspondent Idris Lone is joining us live from Srinagar. Idris, thank you so much for joining us. The abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir led to full extension of the jurisdiction of central government, the parliament and the Indian constitution over the region. But for the demand, like I mentioned earlier, for restoring statehood is growing. What can you tell us about the general sentiment at this point?
Well, to give you an update of on the ground situation at the moment, let me tell you that security has been beefed up across the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir today, especially after the security forces got an input about a militant attack. And after that, we've seen that huge number of security personnel on the ground. If we talk about the issues, what has happened in the last 2 years with regard to the demand for statehood, also what we are seeing that the mainstream political parties in Jammu and Kashmir, after they met the Prime Minister in that all-party meeting, demanded the restoration of democratic setup in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Their first demand was delimitation, the second demand was election, and the most important was the statehood. So they've been demanding all these things. But if we look at the other side of what has been happening in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of initiatives taken by the government, especially with regard to education, health sector, as well as engagement of youth into various activities. What we are being told.
Right, Idris. I was in fact just going to come to that. What do you think? I think it's very relevant at this point to ask, what is the progress in terms of engagement of youth in sports activities there?
Well, absolutely. There have been many initiatives taken by the government with regard to engagement of youth, and sports is one of the major initiatives that the government has taken. We've seen that for the first time in the last many years, because we have the most amazing golf courses in Srinagar, but there was no academy for students to learn the sport. For the first time, we've seen that there's a golf academy which has been started for the students of government schools. On the other hand, we're being told that there will be 17 national sports events which will be held in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and around 17 lakh students will take part in these different sports events. We've also seen, the government's initiative with regard to sports activities to keep youth away from social evils like drug addiction, which is seen a lot. We've seen in the last few months that the drug addiction rackets have been, caught by Jammu and Kashmir police, which means that it's it's a big problem for the state to handle, and that's one of the reasons that sports activities are being initiated by the government to keep the youth of the Union Territory away from these social evils as well.
Right, Idris. Also, going back to the point that you made earlier, now they have witnessed a rise in attacks, terror attacks, particularly in the Kashmir Valley. What can you tell us about the public sentiment there, and how do you see this unfolding in the days to come?
Well, absolutely. If we see this year's record of the incidents of violence, we've seen that there is a decrease. Even in the number of militants killed this year is around 92 at the moment, which is much lesser than what it was last year. But Jammu and Kashmir police heads, both DG and IG, have made it clear that the recruitment of youth into these militant groups has reduced by more than 50%, and that's one of the reasons that we've seen less violence, especially in the hinterland. If we talk about the line of control, if we talk about the international border, what we've seen in the past, especially after February, when there was a ceasefire agreement signed by both the countries, India and Pakistan, after that we've seen the violence on the border decrease as well. There have been very few infiltration bids which have been completely foiled by the Indian Army, and we've also seen the people who live on these bordering areas have appreciated the government's role in it and said that for the first time they can breathe freely in these areas which are very close to line of control, which otherwise were very volatile, and they had to really go through a lot of shelling and cross-border firing, and a lot of people did if we talk about 2020, a lot of people died in those ceasefire violations. A lot of cattle and houses were damaged in those ceasefire violations. So it's a respite for the people, especially living on the line of control as well.
Right, Idris. Also, just slipping in one last question before we wrap up. Now, many locals have in fact admitted that there has been progress. Work opportunities have said to be increased for the people there. What can you tell us about that?
Well, yes, if we talk about job sectors, there have been many initiatives taken by the government, especially if we talk about youth engagement. There is a special department which has been set up by the government called Youth Mission, wherein they say that 50,000 youth would be engaged this year only into different activities. They'll be trained, they'll be skilled, and then they'll be even helped to start their own startups. So government is doing a lot of these initiatives, taking a lot of these initiatives where youth can be engaged and employment can be generated for the youngsters in Kashmir, because unemployment is one of the biggest problems in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir.
Right. All right, Idris. Thank you so much for joining us with all the latest on that. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.